Well, I was wrong about this series. Hey yo guys, and seriously, hey yo! So I watched the Made in Abyss movie and season 2. Actually, I only watched the first episode of season 2, and holy did that take a dark turn. Where should I start? Obviously the movie. I haven't continued season 2. Okay. I gotta prepare myself for that. But don't worry, I have good things to say, and also spoiler warnings, you have been warned. The movie immediately continues on from the first season. Riku, Regu, and now Nanashi have journeyed downwards and have made it to the 5th level. We get to an almost painting-like field of flowers, the flowers of fortitude that we have seen in the past, but as beautiful as it may seem, this is the 5th layer of the abyss and the dangers are closer than you think. On closer inspection, there are dying bodies surrounding these beautiful field of flowers, and we get our first look of an Umbra Hands, which is the group behind the White Whistle Bondrewd, who we get to see at the end of the first season. You know, that guy with the really cool mask who experiments on children and our very own Nanashi, so he's not that cool. Well, this Umbra Hands, they don't really say his name, shows us the horrors of the abyss and how the smallest of creatures are the deadliest. And we quickly get the realization that the abyss is still the cruel hellspace underneath the surface, and even the most peaceful of settings can be very deadly. Honestly, it's such a great start to the movie. We still have the amazing art here and the soundtrack as we develop new peaks in this series with its characters and storytelling, and better yet, we get some great strategically focused battles here thanks to Nanashi and some really good surprises from Regu. Once again, the world doesn't lose a step on feeling alive. One thing I overlooked in my first video was of course that there is so much attention to detail, but specifically when it comes to preparing food in the abyss. Fortunately for anyone who is educated enough to enter the abyss, there is apparently really good eats to find while adventuring downwards. The way the characters enjoy the food looks to be the most satisfying part of the adventure, since you go through so many life-threatening trials, but through all of that you can still have the most unlikeliest of delicious meals down in the abyss. Honestly, you can tell me I could have the most life-changing meal of my life at the bottom of the abyss, and I might be stupid enough to do it like Rico and take the leap into this endless hole. Just think about it, it could be worth it. But back to business, Made in Abyss has always looked great with its art direction, but here on the 5th level we get some of the best landscapes and shots of the series. Unfortunately, it does get a little dull when we are inside of Bondrewd's base, but we get treated when we get out of the science lab of hell. We are still very lucky to see the wildlife of the 5th level outside of the parasites from the introduction of the movie. We do get to see those very deadly scorpions from Liza's notes from the first couple of episodes of the first season. And man, are these creatures deadly, because we get to see how a white whistle would fare against one. Or many. The world building in this film has been outstanding, seeing how it's a less than a 2-hour film. But the meat of this story is in its characters, and we get our first antagonist of the series, and I gotta say, I felt betrayed. I know that sounds complicated, and I know that I should have expected Bondrewd to be the twisted villain that we saw in the end of the first season, but his entrance in the film was so cold. Like, god damn. That entrance alone kind of won me over, and I was like, let this guy cook. Maybe there's a reason for all this experiments. I'm sure he cooks these kids something, right? He probably packs them a lunch, right? Like a little child lunch box. I'm sorry guys, it's just that his design is so cool and his demeanor is so charismatic and dominating. As he always looks so confident of his control in every scene, he just felt so badass. I just understood the white whistle hype with this guy. But then we got to the torture and... oh yeah, this guy needs to die. But hold up guys, Bondrewd is still such a complex character since we can't discern if he's just a heartless man who just lacks empathy for humanity, or he actually holds some compassion on all the children he has experimented on. And how actually he does have a heart that can love, since we are introduced to Prushka, his adopted daughter. Dawn of the Deep Soul is a tragic tale for two characters. Prushka and Nanashi are closely tied to Bondrewd and the twist of fate that hold them. Nanashi is a successful experiment from Bondrewd's cursed experiments. We discover that the abyss is capable of handing out blessings, as Nanashi has lost what makes her look human, but is still very much alive from the effects of the 6th level, where no one tends to return from. But Bondrewd hasn't only robbed Nanashi of her human appearance, but he has also traumatized her with terrifying experiments that she's had a hand in, and robbing her of her only treasure, Mitty. She understands how terrifying Bondrewd can be and the risk her new friends are in with him so close in proximity, so she nearly sacrifices herself to him in exchange for Riku and Regu's safety, and assistance to the 6th level. Why assistance? Because we find out they can only make it to the 6th layer as a white whistle. I guess Riku and us, the viewers, learned that white whistles aren't only a rank, but you actually need to be a white whistle to actually travel everywhere. However, Nanashi's deal with Bondrewd gets thrown out the window because he can't promise her friend's safety anymore, and more on that in a bit though. And now our little Prushka, who isn't tied by blood but by love to Bondrewd. Okay, don't make it sound weird, alright? Prushka loves Bondrewd as a father, but is also blind to the fact that Bondrewd is capable of hurting others like her newly found friends who she quickly gets attached to. Prushka and Riku share so much in common with their fascinations with the Abyss. They quickly bond after Riku has experienced the 5th level curse, which by the way is way more interesting than the 4th layer curse. While yes, it's fucking disgusting to bleed from every hole in your body, but the fact that you can break your teeth from how tight you get unexplained scars and be paralyzed from it all is way more terrifying to me. It's like sleep paralysis but way worse with like all the downsides. Don't get me wrong, the 4th layer is gross. I mean, it's just a default. Blood is just nasty, but just imagine having sleep paralysis and everything that's happening to you is actually happening. That is literal nightmare fuel. So yeah, Riku gets cursed, but Prushka is there to rescue her, but we also get to find out there are ways of avoiding the Abyss's curse. Since Prushka has a pet that originates from the Abyss and is capable of ascending, because at least from what I understood, animals or creatures from the Abyss aren't affected by the curse, but maybe they find a way to avoid it. And if you follow the trail of the little pet, I forget the little pet's name, you are capable of avoiding the curse. At this point, I was sold on the fact that Prushka was going to join the gang since she also wanted to explore the Abyss, and with her on the gang, she can also give us the opportunity to ascend back to the surface if we ever needed to. But unfortunately, Prushka's fate was twisted. You know it's about to get bad because we get a flashback for Prushka where we learn that she was damn near brain dead, but was able to overcome it with the help of Bondrewd, who adopts her as a daughter from there on. He was cooking something because they actually do get to bond together and love each other. It's what makes Bondrewd such a hard character to read, as we get to see that he does have remorse and actually respects the human lives that he has butchered. We see him remember all of the names of all the child experiments who have become meat sacks. But then we learn that he uses his system of cartridges to avoid the curse of the Abyss, and then we really learn what cartridges are, and once again this man deserves the worst death ever. Somehow he learned that he can transfer the curse effects onto other, how do I say this, living human beings, I guess. And how does he do this? It's by mutilating human bodies and stuffing them into cartridges where they are still alive and suffering from all the pains of being ripped apart and stuffed into a lunchbox. This guy is a monster, literally. I'm still a little fuzzy on how the transferring works, but you know, you guys can let me know down in the comments. We also get an explanation on what causes Nanashi's blessing, and it was love. Yeah, you heard me right. A little corny, but yes, love is what helped Nanashi survive the curse from the 6th level, as she loved Midi and she loved her back, and the Abyss spared her from a dark, twisted fate. So unfortunately, if you can connect the dots, Prushka would be sacrificed for Bondrewd's blessing. It's always a tragedy and made in Abyss. And it's just so heartbreaking because we get to see Prushka's point of view while she's being, you know, stuffed in a lunchbox. However, the final blessing escapes Bondrewd and instead blesses Riku. While a short time, to Bondrewd's surprise actually, Riku and Prushka were able to create such a strong bond together, and their desire to travel to the bottom of the Abyss was so strong that Prushka became the key to the 6th layer. Her soul became the white whistle. Once again, kind of corny though, since like the whole theme was love, and Riku's white whistle kind of looks like a little heart to me, but also kind of nice and bittersweet that she still kind of gets to travel with her new friends. Also, I'm still very confused as to why and how it happened though, like the whole your worth and getting your own white whistle, so if you can explain it in the most simplest of terms, please comment it down below, thank you. Also, Bondrewd's defeat was really unexpectedly good because I wanted him to die, but he doesn't because he's kind of immortal. We find out that he has a power, or at least a tool, that lets him transfer his consciousness into other bodies, which are the Umbra Hands, so technically he can't die unless his mask or unless all of the Umbra Hands are defeated, as I could understand, but it also felt very earned, and Bondrewd's turn of heart for the gang felt very satisfying for such a, you know, a hard to read antagonist as he was. I think I will forever remember his final words till the end of the series. It beautifully captures what Made in Abyss is about. May your journey be overflowing with curses and blessings. God damn, he was cold, man. We do get a lot more lore outside of the character development in this movie. I get my questions answered on what relics are, and yeah, they're tools, duh. I don't know what I was thinking. We also learn about how the White Whistles have special relic tools that only they have access to, and Bondrewd has the ability to transfer his consciousness to other bodies, so he's kinda immortal like I said before. But most importantly, we get to see Ragu's full potential after he gets a full charged battery. I don't know if this counts as Ragu regaining some of his memories or more like something taking over his body. He gets into an almost berserk state where we see him move like we have never seen him move before, and it was honestly so fucking cool to see him use his body in such a fun and creative way. I've never seen something like it. This got me even more invested in finding out what Ragu is. Up to this point we have seen him get some flashbacks, and it does look like he has some connection to Rico's mother Liza. So what is his connection to Liza and the Abyss? I almost doubted at the start that Liza sent out that note for Rico to meet her at the bottom of the Abyss, because why would you set up a 12-year-old like this? Unless you have a robot fully capable of hacking its way to the bottom. And now I don't doubt it, I really believe that note and Riku's appearance was totally planned out by Liza now. But I still think it's a terrible setup because these are kids and look at all the things you're gonna put them through. Bad mom, bro. Like, what's at the bottom there that's so worth risking your child's life for? And on that note, yeah, I can see the complaints about why the author writes and draws these children in these situations. We have these kids being mutilated and turned into lunchboxes, Ragu's live dissection being really uncomfortable. And please don't tell me why Prushka knows about Papa's pull. Please don't be what I think it is, please. I can totally see this becoming a real big stain on what is a great series. But ignoring all of that, I do think that this was an improvement from the first season. It was a lot more focused, it explained but also inherited more mysteries, and also way better paced. I do want to give Dawn of the Deep Soul a strong 9. I almost don't expect Bondrewd to be topped as an antagonist in this series, so I'm really curious what's to come in the 6th layer, and I'm getting the feeling that it's going to be really bad. And yes, it's bad. I already watched the first episode by the time I recorded this because I'm impatient and, you know, I just wanted to watch it. I was so curious, and it's... Watch out for that video. And it looks like this dragged on a little bit longer than I wanted to, so I will be splitting my thoughts on season 2. So make sure to like and subscribe so I can get my very own White Whistle of my own. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, I appreciate you. I really want to eat some of the food in the Abyss.